What you're looking at is a full access UTV.com KRX 1000 muffler cover. We actually offer these in, I think, 4 different versions. So we have the black with the logo, we have raw with the logo, we have straight black powder coat, or just raw. So let's talk performance today. Let's talk about the cover. We're going to put it on for you, show you how to do it. But performance. KRX 1000s are not building any power with aftermarket mufflers. They're actually losing power, and that's not me talking. B-Force John has posted some things, a couple other tuners, and one I talked to is Nate at Alba. They are losing horsepower with aftermarket mufflers, and the reason being is back pressure. The exhaust system needs back pressure. When you think about a car, the motor's in the front, has to come all the way through the tubing, the piping, it gets a lot of back pressure. That's how race cars are tuned, that's how UTVs are tuned, everything else is tuned. So Kawasaki did it right on this motor. They did everything. They got it matched up really well, so unless you're getting a mass amount of air in, you don't need to get a mass amount of air out. So we say stick with the stock muffler. It's quiet. It's not nearly as loud as these aftermarket systems. You can always say, you can see them on Facebook, on the forums all the time for sale with 1 ride on them, 2 ride on them. Why? People put it on and we're like, oh my God, this is ridiculous, you know? They're loud. And just because it's loud doesn't mean it's faster. Just because it's loud now means it's slower. And that's being proven by the dyno tuners out there. So my suggestion is to keep the stock muffler. But if you take a look at the stock muffler, it's ugly. Everybody knows what they look like. They're square, they're weird looking, they're ugly. So we made a cool shield that goes on it. We got our logo without. We prefer you run our logo, advertise for us. We'd appreciate it. We actually give you a discount for that. But that's one of the things. And then a lot of other people say, well, why is the KRX 1000 loud? It's not really loud. When you think about it versus a car, you say your average person jumping into these didn't come from another UTV. They came from a car, a truck, and then they're jumping into a UTV going, oh, it's so loud. It's like jumping onto a Harley or a street bike. It's also loud. But the main reason is your motor's in the front, your exhaust tailpipe's in the rear. It's quieting down through the whole way, through resonators, through mufflers, so on and so forth. The Kawasaki, however, is coming right off the header into the muffler, and that's one of the reasons it's loud. A Polaris and the Can-Ams and stuff, they'll dump out on the other side in the back, mufflers in the back, things like that. That's why I would actually say, you know, when you're standing outside, I think the Polaris and the Can-Am are a little bit quieter, you know, definitely, but, you know, even them, the people are changing the mufflers out on those too, but those are actually gaining performance, and people see noticeable differences with them. On KRX, no, so hey, we're sticking with it. We made the muffler cover, and I hopefully that covers the performance of it. The only thing we've done to ours is the cat. We've knocked the catalytic converter of ours out. You can actually unbolt it, take it off the mounts, take it back out, and drill out and knock out your catalytic converter if you don't have smog in your area or whatever else. But we did it for longevity. It's not really a performance gain. I mean, it will be later on if it was getting clogged up, but we just do it for longevity. And that was the main reason we did it. It made no sound difference whatsoever, and that's how we left it. So, talking about this muffler again, there is some things you can do to it. It is made out of stainless steel. So, you can get in here and clean it up with steel wool, and we just spray it with water, squirt bottle or whatever. You can actually get in here and just scrub all these cracks around the welds and things. You can make it look good again. This one was actually cleaned, I think, about 6 months ago. And you can see how nice it looks. It's been hidden behind the muffler shield on this thing for probably a year now, but it's, you know, that's one way. If you don't want to run a muffler cover, you can keep it clean that way. And the reason being too, I should say, is you hit mud puddles, mud and everything all the time. As soon as it hits that thing, it's like 1,000 degrees, you know, at some points, and it just boils right off. So it leaves all the dirt, it cakes on, builds on, and it's extremely hard to get off. You can't, no matter what, a Purple Power, high pressure washer, nothing doesn't work, but the steel wool does. So use like grade 00 is what I was using, and it works out cool. So again, I think that's it. I'll get to installing the muffler cover. So now this particular one has had the muffler cover installed, as I said, so I'm not going to put the one on the table on. I'm going to put the same one on it that's been on there forever. This is one of the first original ones that we did pre-going to production. So you need a few tools. One you'll need is a 10 millimeter, take off these top 2 bolts, and then you need a 7/16 and a ratchet with 7/16 or a couple 7/16 wrenches. But this is really simple to do. If you got a ratchet wrench, it's a lot easier. Otherwise, you're trying to pry your ratchet underneath this heat shield. You can see my finger is. Pull the hardware off the bottom. Okay, so your first step, oh, sorry, I almost messed up. So the factory heat shield sits right here like this. You want to bend down this flap. That way it doesn't touch the side of the new heat shield. So what you do is just simply push it down. That will give you enough gap against the new heat shield. Slide it on, put the bolts back in. Now, just before you get it tight, you just want to make sure you're not hitting right here. On the newer versions, we open this up a little bit more, but just make sure it's not hitting there. So that's what I'm doing right there, and then I'm tightening it back down. And Wyatt can jump to this side. I'll show you the next step. So your next step is you got to space the muffler out, or the shield off of the muffler. So you just want to keep this away. So there's quite a few things you can do. You can use some 1/8" all thread, 3/16 all thread. We've got a piece of flat plate. You can use a stir stick from the paint store. You can go steal one of your spatulas. You can do a lot of different things. But for this, because it stays in there, and I didn't go digging too much, I'm gonna put a piece of all thread in there so you can see the gap. That's gonna keep the shield from rattling on the muffler itself. The next thing you're gonna do is get yourself a Sharpie or a pin, and this is the only hole you got to drill in the whole kit, and it goes right into the muffler mount. And what you want to do is push it up there and just pretty much mark out your hole. And as you know, I've already installed this and it's been on this car, but you need to drill it out to 1/4 inch. So I'll take out my drill and act like I'm drilling stuff, making cool sounds like that. Yep, metal shavings flew all over the place. It's good. So one of the things too is keep this stick in there the whole time. So now, this is the hardware is basically going to come with your kit. You're going to have a bolt and a washer, then you're going to have a spacer, then you're going to have a nut. So bolt and washer goes on the outside, spacer goes on the inside, then you're going to push it through your hole, just like that. And then the hardest part, putting this nut on. What I'll do is put my finger in here, keep my finger on the top of it, and bring it over to the bolt. And then try to put the two together, and I got it. That was easier than normal, but if that doesn't work too, the other thing you can do, the trick, you can take a wrench, put your nut in here, put some tape on the top, and just holding it, and then you can stick your nut in there and then try to thread your bolt into it. So again, keep this in here while you're tightening down that bolt, and I won't do it because we're trying to do a quick video, but then go ahead and pull this out, and that's it. You've installed your exhaust shield, and have fun with it. Oh, you know what, one more thing. Rattling. So it's metal. It expands, it shrinks. It expands, it shrinks. It keeps doing it every time you turn it off, turn it on, going fast, going slow. It's aluminum, it's metal. It will shrink in and it will change the shape a little bit. So you'll start hearing some rattling. And ours, I think, it's every 2 to 3 months. So some people have put bigger spacers in there and things and try to alleviate the rattling. It's a real simple thing you do. Take a pry bar or something similar. I'll show you exactly how to do this. Like I said, you only got to do this every 2 or 3 months. But it usually where it's rattling is down here in the bottom. So you just simply try to stick this in this area right here. So I'm showing you. And then you want to stick it in and then just pry. And give it, I mean, you don't need to do a ton, but pull it out and then make sure you got a gap. And if you got a gap, then you're good. Try to keep it about 1/8 inch. So just do that and you're good to go. You'll probably last you another 2 to 3 months. So again, like and subscribe, guys. If you want one of these muffler covers and any of the styles we got, I'll put a link in the below comments. And that's it. Like and subscribe. Appreciate it, man.